Part 28. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 273. After the pill was refined, Changsun Genjiang immediately raised his head and looked in the direction of Chen Ronghuo. Seeing this, Wang Chao and others were all on guard. A fourth-stage late cultivator is far from being comparable to 11Z, who was just in the fourth stage. Second uncle. Chang Sun Yi stood beside Chang Sun Genjiang with a sword in his hand, with a sharp murderous intent in his eyes. At this time, Chen Ronghuo didn't know what he was doing and couldn't move, so it was definitely the best time to get rid of Chen Ronghuo and his group. If it was later, she was worried that she would never find such an opportunity again in the future. The mystery of Chen Ronghuo left a deep shadow in her heart. Rising in a short time and forcibly splitting Beiwu Island in half was nothing. What she feared most was that Chen Ronghuo could actually cultivate so many powerful subordinates in such a short time. If Chen Ronghuo was given some more time to develop, she really didn't know what the consequences would be. Seeing Chang Sun Yi's expression, Chang Sun Genjiang's eyes also flashed. But it was different from Chang Sun Yi's decisiveness. Although he was a late-stage fourth-level cultivator, he was obsessed with alchemy all his life and lacked means of fighting. He only had the cultivation of the late-stage fourth level, but his actual combat power was about the same as some stronger mid-stage fourth-level cultivators. He was the one who was challenged by someone who jumped the level. And his weak strength also made him hesitate when doing anything, and he dared not make a decision easily. Should he kill Chen Ronghuo now? He looked at the huge incarnation of disaster in front of Chen Ronghuo, and his brows were tightly knitted. This behemoth now seemed to be able to create disasters with strange abilities. But who knows if this thing is really just like this? One thought after another emerged from Chang Sun Genjiang's mind. The chaotic thoughts also made his momentum bloom inadvertently. The flame robe on his body moved without wind. At this time, Chen Ronghuo, who was standing on the altar in the distance, had already put all his thoughts on comprehending the law of disaster. As the disaster he created this time became bigger and bigger, and as a large amount of disaster energy was fed back into his body from heaven and earth, his eyes flashed with a clear light, as if he had broken through some kind of barrier, and in the dark, he saw the true meaning of this world, and felt the various mysteries of the laws of disasters that were spread throughout the surrounding space. So that's it? Suddenly, Chen Ronghuo's heart moved, and a thought spread out, like a hurricane sweeping, and actually swept the mysteries of the laws of disasters that filled the surrounding heaven and earth into his soul sea, and then woven it into a strange talisman. As soon as the talisman was completed, it immediately turned into a stream of light and was imprinted into the depths of Chen Ronghuo's soul. This talisman is the embodiment of the materialization of the mysteries of disasters. After the talisman of the mysteries of disasters entered Chen Ronghuo's soul and merged with him, he immediately felt his soul swell, as if in an instant, he received feedback from some mysterious power from heaven and earth, and the power of his soul instantly soared by one level. From the peak of the third level, he reached the fourth level. The natural disaster flames in his soul sea also transformed. At this moment, the natural disaster flames, both in essence and quantity, increased dramatically. Fourth level. Chen Ronghuo opened his eyes. A thunderous sound came from the void. I am the incarnation of disaster, and I will end everything I think should end with disaster. As Chen Ronghuo opened his eyes and muttered to himself, the huge incarnation of disaster in front of him suddenly collapsed as if it had reached its limit, turning into a rolling gray airflow and merging into the surrounding void. Boom! As the incarnation of disaster collapsed, the power of disaster in its body also reached its extreme at this moment. In an instant, on the Black Mist Island, I don't know how many times the ground shook, how many sinkholes appeared, how many dams burst, and how many major disasters occurred. Especially, a terrifying hurricane was born at the source of the collapse of the incarnation of disaster. It rolled forward while whistling, carrying the colorful poisonous pill cloud of hundreds of feet in size that rushed out of Changsun Zhengzhang's alchemy furnace, and rolled towards the direction of Black Mist City at a terrifying speed. This is... Changsun Zhengzhang's eyes followed the hurricane and finally fell far away in the direction of Black Mist City. What is this person going to do? He took a deep breath and slowly put away his momentum. The flame robe that was originally moving without wind, like a balloon that was punctured, suddenly stuck to him again. Forget it. This person is evil. I'd better return to White Mist City first, take the 5-colored pure spirit pill, break through to the peak of the 4th level, and then find a way to fight him. While thinking, he gave Changsun Yi a look and wanted to call her to leave this place. Boom. At this time, after a loud noise, the huge incarnation of disaster with 9 heads and thousands of hands in the distance was completely shed in the gray airflow. After a flash, only a virtual image of several dozen meters high remained. Several dozen meters high, not short. But it was far from being comparable to the previous one. Looking at this image, Chen Rong waved his fire hand, and it turned into a strange grey talisman, rushed into his forehead, and was collected into his soul sea. The incarnation of disaster is also a secret technique. After the first use, it will turn into such a strange talisman. In the future, as the number of times it is used increases, it will even breed some spiritual intelligence, and it can exist in the world for a long time, and even assist Chen Ronghuo in fighting. After putting away the talisman transformed by the incarnation of disaster, Chen Ronghuo turned his head and set his eyes on Changsun Gengzhang, who was about to leave. Thinking of the elixir that Changsun Gengzhang had just refined, Chen Ronghuo's eyes flashed with a strange light, and he smiled and said, "You are, Changsun Gengzhang, the younger brother of Changsun Gengzin." "It's me." Changsun Gengzhang nodded. At the same time, he set his eyes on Chen Ronghuo, wanting to hear what Chen Ronghuo was going to say. Black Mist City. Did it succeed? Wan Yongchang, who was fighting fiercely with Li Bing, saw the huge body of the incarnation of disaster collapse in the colorful swamp, and his eyes lit up slightly. Although it was important to compete with Li Bing, he was unwilling to give up Black Mist Island unless it was absolutely necessary. Black Mist Island was also very important to him. Boom. As far as he could see, as the huge incarnation of disaster collapsed, countless mountains on the island collapsed at the same time, but he didn't care about it. As long as the Black Mist Island still existed, it was enough for him. Li Bing, our battle should end. Suddenly, a sharp look flashed in his eyes, and the blood-red longsword in his hand slashed in the void, increasing the offensive. The battle between the two was different from that of ordinary people. Neither of them used various secret techniques, but only competed with each other with pure martial arts. So the battle between the two of them was much longer than that of ordinary people. At the same time, after such a long battle, he had suppressed Li Bing to a disadvantage. At this time, as Wan Yongchang exerted force again, Li Bing finally couldn't hold on. Even with the victory sword in hand, he was on the verge of defeat. Chen Ronghuo is pitting me. Even though Li Bing was determined, he couldn't help but think of Chen Ronghuo at this moment. Although Wan Yongchang was the opponent he chose, if Chen Ronghuo hadn't deliberately induced him, he might not have come here. Thinking of the consequences of losing again this time, Li Bing's face immediately turned ugly. He felt that he must learn from his mistakes and not be used like this again. At the same time, he also had to learn from Chen Ronghuo. Learn from Chen Ronghuo's cleverness and shamelessness. Whoosh! At this moment, a huge colorful hurricane suddenly swept in from a distance, heading straight for Black Mist City, and rushing towards Wan Yongchang and Li Bing. What is this? Seeing this huge and strange colorful hurricane, Wan Yongchang's face immediately showed an ugly look. At this time, he was fighting with Li Bing at the most intense time. If he avoided it, he would most likely be brought back by Li Bing. But if you don't dodge. Take a deep breath. In the fierce battle, Wan Yongchang looked at Li Bing and shouted quickly, Li Bing, you have no chance of winning this battle, and it's useless to drag it on. Don't you admit defeat? And this wind is weird. Once this weird wind blows over, none of us will be well. If you want me to admit defeat, wait until you really defeat me. Li Bing waved the sword of victory, the sword light was bright, and he was unmoved. Okay, okay. In this case, I will let you lose to me today. Wan Yongchang's face was extremely ugly, but he wanted to make Li Bing promise to do something for him in the future once he defeated Li Bing. He was ruthless and attacked Li Bing again. The sharp sword light flashed wildly, and the whole void was filled with sword light, just like casting a net to catch fish. And Li Bing was the fish in the net. Blood fell from the air. In a short time, Li Bing had more than a dozen wounds on his body. Blood dripping. Whoosh. But just when Li Bing was seriously injured and about to collapse, the hurricane that swept in from afar finally arrived, and with a whoosh, it rolled both of them in. But this colorful hurricane, although it rolled Li Bing in, suddenly split into two with his body as the center, as if it was deliberately avoiding it when it approached it. Then, after avoiding Li Bing, the hurricane that split into two closed again. One on the left and one on the right, rushed towards Wan Yongchang at the same time. Open! Wan Yongchang's eyes flashed with murderous light, and suddenly he used forbidden techniques, and slashed with a sword. When the raging wind raged around him, he slashed with a sword, splitting the raging wind, and slashed Li Bing, who was resisting, with the sword of victory. Slashed Li Bing far away. Whoosh! The hurricane dissipated. But Wan Yongchang was full of colorful colors. He was already poisoned. You lost. But from a distance, Wan Yongchang looked at Li Bing, leaning on the ground with his sword, but there was no regret in his eyes. For him, as long as he defeated Li Bing, everything would be worth it. Moreover, he himself was a master of poison. Although the skills he practiced were not poison skills, he had a strong resistance to poison. Although this five-color poison was strange, he could remove it as long as he was given some time. Ahem. In the distance, Li Bing coughed and stood up with his sword. Seeing Li Bing fighting, Wan Yongchang did not care. With his eyesight, he could see that Li Bing had no strength to fight again, which meant that he had already won this battle. Yes, I lost. Li Bing leaned on the ground with his sword, looking at Wan Yongchang from afar, and a blush suddenly appeared on his square face. He said, but in the battle just now, there were outsiders interfering, which was unfair to you, so the oath I made before the battle is also invalid. Thanks to Nan Ke Lu Yimang for the 300 coin reward, and the book friend Kong Ji Mo for the 100 coin reward. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Chao Ji Pang. Chapter 274. Puff. Wan Yongchang, who was holding a sword, couldn't control himself for a moment after hearing Li Bing's words, and spat out a mouthful of poisonous blood. He looked at Li Bing with an extremely ugly expression, and his whole body started to tremble with anger. Shameless. He never thought that Li Bing, the leader of the divine weapon of victory, would be so shameless. He risked everything and fought Li Bing just to win against Li Bing and gain Li Bing's promise. But he didn't expect that at the end of the battle, Li Bing would actually find such an excuse. An icy aura rose from him. Then it turned into a biting murderous aura, spreading towards Li Bing and shrouding it. Kill. The bloody longsword moved in one move. The twisted mentality made Wan Yongchang completely explode at this moment. He ignored the poison in his body, moved his body, and went straight to Li Bing to kill him. Seeing the rapidly approaching Wan Yongchang, Li Bing, who was seriously injured, quickly fled away without any desire to fight. At the same time, he turned over his hand and took out a green talisman, tore it open and put it on his body. His speed instantly increased, turning it several times faster than before, and the distance between him and Wan Yongchang became wider and wider. Li Bing has many treasures in his hands. When he was in the demon-sealed land, he fought with people. The reason why he was seriously injured so many times and was able to escape in the end was because of these treasures. It was just because of the divine sword of victory that he was not allowed to use other foreign objects except the divine sword of victory when sparring with others, so he did not use it when fighting against Wan Yongchang. Meanwhile, colorful swamp. You said you wanted to buy the elixir I just refined. Chang Soon Gengjiang looked at Chen Ronghuo in astonishment. Just now, Chen Ronghuo actually asked him if he could sell the elixir he had just refined. To him, this was simply whimsical. Without any hesitation, he shook his head and said, "I'm sorry, I still need to take this elixir myself, I can't sell it to you." As he spoke, he subconsciously brushed his storage equipment, as if he was afraid that Chen Ronghuo would snatch away his treasures. The 5-colored Qingling pill was the masterpiece of his life. There are 5 pills in a pot, which is just enough for him, Chang Soon Yi, and Chang Soon Ping. How could he sell them to Chen Ronghuo? Chen Ronghuo was not surprised to hear Chang Soon Gengjiang's refusal, but after thinking about it, he still said, "I feel like there is something wrong with your elixir. If you don't want to sell it, you can lend me one first. I don't know how to make alchemy, but I know a secret technique that should be able to help you solve the problems in the elixir. It doesn't take much, I'll help you solve the problem of a pill, I just need you to give me any important town on Beiwu Island." Chang Soon Gengjiang, as well as Chang Soon and others, are ultimately related to Chang Soon Gengjiang. If possible, Chen Ronghuo is not willing to use conspiracy and tricks to deal with his family. For him, especially for him who has broken through to the 4th level, he can conquer Beiwu City through upright means. Is there something wrong with the elixir I refined? Help me solve the problem of a pill, and I will give you an important town. Hearing Chen Ronghuo's words, Chang Soon Gengjiang almost laughed angrily. He has been obsessed with alchemy all his life. On the path of alchemy, few practitioners at the same level can match him. Doesn't he himself know if there is something wrong with the elixir he refined? Taking a deep breath, he looked at Chen Ronghuo and said, "Don't worry, Lord Chen. Even if there is a problem with my elixir, I can solve it myself, so you don't have to worry about it." Chen Ronghuo shook his head. He could naturally hear the sarcasm in Zhang Sun Gengjiang's words. But he didn't care about it. He has already given the opportunity to the eldest son's family. So in the future, even if there is a problem with the eldest grandson's family, even if the eldest grandson is really dissatisfied, he will not have no excuses. And this is enough for him. That's okay. Thinking this, Chen Ronghuo smiled strangely, followed the words, and spoke again, "But apart from the pill, I wonder if you are interested in going to Black Mist City with me." Going to Black Mist City? The eldest grandson Gengjiang and 1 or 2 eldest grandsons all looked condensed when they heard this. That's right, Chen Ronghuo smiled and nodded. "Before coming here, I didn't expect that I would meet you. We are so destined, why don't we go to Black Mist City together and completely wipe out Black Mist City? Erase Black Mist City?" When Chang Soon Gengjiang and Chang Soon Yi heard this, there was a roar in their minds. Chen Ronghuo's thoughts not only shocked them, but also made them unpredictable. But they didn't know that Chen Ronghuo originally had no intention of taking action against Black Mist City now. Because now, if he wants to take action against Black Mist City, he will probably be unable to do so. But as he said, this time he happened to meet Chang Soon Gengjiang and his 2 men here, which made it possible to attack Black Mist City. At this time, the battle in Black Mist City has ended. Chen Ronghuo calculated through ancient books and knew that the man in Black Mist City was now poisoned and his strength was greatly reduced. This is the right time for him. At the same time, he himself broke through to the 4th level, and his strength increased explosively. Chao Chao and Huang Lin both have the strength of ordinary 4th level cultivators, plus Changsun Zhengzin and Changsun Yi or 2, this is harmony for him. The time, place, and people are favorable. At this time, he has the right time and the right people. If he doesn't take action, he will be sorry for his own destiny. Feel sorry. After pondering for a while, Changsun Genjiang shook his head directly and rejected Chen Ronghuo. If Lord Chen wants to take action against Black Mist City, just do it yourself. I can guarantee that this time I will not get involved in this matter. Although he was not decisive enough, he was not stupid. With Chen Ronghuo's mystery, even if he joins forces with Chen Ronghuo to take down Black Mist City in one fell swoop, I'm afraid he won't get any benefits in the end. There is even a possibility that Chen Rong would get him into trouble when fighting Black Mist City. At the same time, once Black Mist City is destroyed, only they and Chen Ronghuo will be left in this area of water. By that time, Chen Ronghuo's next target, you can know without thinking, it will definitely be them. So, it's better to go back and take drugs first. After you finish taking the drug and level up, you can then think of a way to fight this person. Changsun Genjiang thought to himself. After rejecting Chen Ronghuo, Changsun Genjiang immediately called to Changsun Yi and left with him to return to Beiwu Island. Changsun Genjiang. At this moment, Chen Ronghuo suddenly raised his head, his eyes fell on Changsun Genjiang and said, "We have never met, and you should have just returned from the demon-sealed land not long ago. At the same time, even in Beiwu City, there should not be many people who have seen you. So, do you know how I recognized you?" When the eldest grandson Genjiang and the eldest grandson heard this, their expressions changed. None of them realized this before. It wasn't until Chen Ronghuo spoke that they suddenly thought that even in Beiwu City, not many people had seen Zhangsun Genjiang. At the same time, I have seen Changsun Genjiang's people. Apart from their brothers and sisters, there are only some loyal ministers of the Changsun family. In this way, how could Chen Ronghuo recognize Changsun Genjiang at a glance? Could it be that among the loyal ministers in their family, there are traitors? The faces of both of them turned a little ugly in an instant. Just seeing the expressions of the two of them, Chen Ronghuo smiled slightly, looked at Changsun Genjiang, and said again, "The reason why I know you is because of your appearance. You look so much like your eldest grandson after aging." What? Hearing Chen Ronghuo mention Changsun Zhengzin, Changsun Genjiang, and Changsun Yi or 2, their pupils shrank. The eldest grandson looked at Chen Ronghuo coldly, and said coldly, "Lord Chen, my father is dead. This is something that everyone in Beiwu Island knows." "What do you mean?" Chen Ronghuo walked down from the altar, closed the altar, glanced at his eldest grandson, and said with a half-smile, "Your father is dead or not, others don't know, don't you know it yourself? Or, could it be that the update of the eldest grandson in my territory is actually fake? What did you say?" When the eldest grandson heard this, he could no longer suppress his emotions, and his voice suddenly rose, "My father, is he in your territory?" The brothers and sisters have never given up looking for traces of their eldest grandson Zhengzin. It's just that they haven't found Changsun Zhengzin for such a long time, which has made them almost desperate. But she didn't expect that this time, she would actually get updated news about her eldest grandson from Chen Ronghuo. What shocked her even more was that based on Chen Ronghuo's words, her father was actually in Chen Ronghuo's territory. "What did you do to my elder brother?" At the same time, Changsun Genjiang glared at Chen Ronghuo. "When the eldest grandson Zhengzin left your eldest grandson's house, his lifespan was not long." Chen Ronghuo saw the change in the expressions of the two people, shook his head and smiled, and said without hesitation, "I saw him in Black Tiger Town on the day when Black Tiger Town was destroyed. At that time, because of the curse on his body, his cultivation level was sealed, and he only had 10 days of life left. Because I recognized him, I helped him get rid of the curse. Since then, he has been living in my town of Greenwater Bay. So, you should actually thank me. Even this time, if it weren't for the update of Changsun, I might not have chosen Black Mist Island to start, but would have chosen. What Chen Ronghuo said was half true and half false. The curse of Changsun Zhengzin was lifted by Changsun Zhengzin himself. However, if Chen Ronghuo hadn't caused a scene in the Black Tiger Town and killed Shuejun in the Black Tiger Town, Changsun Zhengzin would not have been able to climb Wuzitum Mountain. Changsun Zhengzin would not have been able to see the magic gift. The handwriting left by love on that stone cannot undo the curse. Therefore, it is not unreasonable to say that Chen Ronghuo helped solve the curse of Changsun Zhengzin. As soon as Changsun Gengzhang and Changsun heard this, they looked at each other and felt that their heads were not full. I don't know whether I should believe what Chen Ronghuo said. After a while, Zhang Sunyi asked again, then why doesn't my father return to Beiwu City? I can't say anything about this, but you can ask him yourself. Chen Ronghuo shook his head. Ask yourself? Go to your Lushwiven town and ask? Changsun Gengzhang and Changsun Yi both frowned, always feeling that Chen Ronghuo was tricking them. But when it comes to Changsun Zhengzin, they have to think carefully. While the two were deep in thought, Chen Ronghuo continued, okay, you should hurry up and go to Black Mist City with me. The Lord of Black Mist City is now poisoned, so it is the best time to get rid of him. If I miss this time, I don't know when I will get it in the future. Go to Black Mist City? When did we agree to go to Black Mist City? Chang Sun-yi said with an ugly face. Are you sure you don't want to go? Chen Ronghuo glanced at his eldest grandson, as if he was asking a normal question. Although he did not mention Changsun Zhengzin again this time, the threat in his words was self-evident. You. Changsun Yi gritted his teeth. Changsun Gengzhang, who was standing beside him, also had a gloomy expression. Obviously, in just a few words, Chen Ronghuo had grasped their lifeline. Taking a deep breath, Changsun Gengzhang said coldly, we can go to Black Mist City with you, and even help you take Black Mist City, but... No buts, Chen Ronghuo interrupted Changsun Gengzhang and said, I will only promise you that you will act with me, and Changsun Zhengzin will definitely not encounter any accidents in my Greenwater Bay town. Changsun Zhengzhang's face turned pale, but in the end, he still uttered a word, okay. Seeing this scene, Wang Chao, Huang Lin, Zhu Daipen, and Li Haishui, who were beside Chen Ronghuo, all looked at each other. It was not until today that they knew that the old man sweeping the floor in Greenwater Bay town was actually the former Earl of White Mist Changsun Zhengzin. They were really shocked when they learned about this. I don't know how Chen Ronghuo made Changsun Zhengzin willing to sweep the floor in Lushwiven town. At the same time, they couldn't help but sigh, from letting Li Bing, who came to challenge him, challenge Wanyang Chang, to letting Changsun Gengzhang and Changsun Yi, who were his enemies, go to Black Mist City with him. Chen Ronghuo's methods are really getting more and more powerful. This chapter has 3,600 words, please vote. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 277. Wait here first. If I destroy Black Mist City, you will be my subordinates in the future. If I cannot destroy Black Mist City in this battle, you can go with me if you want. If you don't want to follow me, you just need to make up your own story and then return to Black Mist City. After getting the reply from Changsun Gengzhang, Chen Ronghuo turned his head and looked at the 3-level practitioners who had come with 11 ZE before. Excluding the man who was beheaded by Huang Lin, and including Xiao Jindu, the master of Black Rain Town, there are 6 3rd-level practitioners left. Third-level practitioners are definitely not weak in the sea area. If he can subdue these 6 people, Chen Ronghuo will naturally not give up. But he didn't have time to pay attention to these people at this time, so he made such a decision. After hearing Chen Ronghuo's words, the 6 people took a deep breath and looked at each other. Destroyed Black Mist City? They were all shocked. But if it was before, they would definitely say that Chen Ronghuo overestimated his ability. But now, after experiencing a series of changes, they no longer dare to underestimate Chen Ronghuo. Chen Ronghuo didn't care what these people thought. He just gave instructions and ignored them. Then he waved his hand, looked in the direction of Black Mist City, and took his men, called Changsun Gengjiang and Changsun Yi, and rushed to Black Mist City quickly. Along the way, Changsun Gengjiang and Changsun Yi tried every means to find out the news about Changsun Gengzin from Chen Ronghuo. But Chen Ronghuo didn't answer anything. He just told the two that Changsun Gengzin's cultivation had recovered a lot, and it shouldn't take long for him to recover to the original peak of the 4th level. At the same time, while communicating with the two and rushing to Black Mist City, he divided most of his mind and put it in his soul sea. On the ancient book that seemed to be in a different dimension. After he broke through to the 4th level, the ancient book changed again. His mind came to the inner space of the ancient book, and he saw that the 4th of the 9 pillars in the inner space of the ancient book was shaking violently, as if something was attacking from inside. Obviously, the 4th sealed page of the ancient book was about to be unsealed. I wonder what can be unsealed this time. Chen Ronghuo's eyes showed expectation. There is no ordinary thing that can be sealed by the ancient book. This can be seen from the 3 times he unsealed the seal page of the ancient book before. Buzz. At this moment, the 4th crystal clear pillar shook violently, and the chaotic light inside it receded, revealing a group of blood-red mist. What is this? When Chen Ronghuo looked at it carefully, a message was instantly transmitted from the ancient book to his heart. The origin of the law of calamity. The origin of the law of calamity is one of the origins of the laws of the world of gods. After ordinary practitioners refine it, they can transform their own physique into a body of 10,000 calamities. Those who possess the body of 10,000 calamities are invincible. They are affected by invisible rules. Enemies who oppose them will be affected by different degrees of rules according to their strength comparison. From then on, disasters will continue and calamities will continue. If you have the body of calamity and refine it, you will transform your own physique into a calamity body, and master the laws of calamity and calamity at the same time. Feeling the message transmitted to his mind by the ancient book, Chen Ronghuo felt confused. The origin of the law of calamity? I have already opened enough cheats, why do I have to add buffs, magic or effects that enhance the character's own abilities in the game, to me? At this time, Chen Ronghuo felt a little scared. However, such an ability that is almost exclusive to the protagonist is placed in front of him, and he obviously will not give up. I don't know who the owner was before the ancient book was sealed, and how could so many powerful things be sealed in the ancient book? Take a deep breath. Chen Ronghuo will get rid of distracting thoughts and withdraw his consciousness from the ancient book. Refining the origin of the law of calamity is obviously not easy, and it is not something that can be done in a short time. At this time, he had to seize the time to take down Black Mist City, so he could only wait until this matter was over and return to Greenwater Bay Town before refining it. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Thinking of this, the group quickly crossed half of the island full of disaster scenes and came to a dark city. Who is coming? The guards of Black Mist City saw Chen Ronghuo and his group from a distance and shouted immediately. Before, Chen Ronghuo summoned the incarnation of disaster and made Black Mist City a mess. Black Mist City was protected by formations, and there were no earthquakes or sinkholes in the city. However, under the cover of the breath of disaster, there were people with weak wills. Because of some trivial things in their daily lives, they suddenly grew courage and ran away with spears. Although these people were not strong, they had a lot of strength, as many as dozens of people. Dozens of people rioted at different times and places. Even though Black Mist City was heavily guarded, they still caused many troubles. Coupled with the horrific scene just now, and the cold murderous intent emanating from Wan Yongchang when he returned to Black Mist City after a battle not long ago, the guards of Black Mist City were extremely alert. "Destroy your Black Mist City people!" Chen Ronghuo shouted coldly. Buzz. As he finished speaking, Wang Chao beside him suddenly summoned the soul of the divine Bao, transformed it into a materialized divine Bao, aimed at the statue of the Lord of Wan Yongchang in the Black Mist City Lord's mansion from a distance, and shot an arrow out. The arrow whistled, and wherever it passed, it brought up layers of air waves. Facing the direction of Chen Ronghuo and his party, the guards on the wall of Black Mist City had just reacted when they were blown off the wall by the violent hurricane caused by the blood-colored arrows flying overhead. They were dizzy and had scratches all over their bodies. Looking for death. Suddenly, a loud shout rang out. In the city lord's mansion of Black Mist City, Wan Yongchang, who had just returned from the failed pursuit of Li Bing, walked out with a gloomy face. When Wang Chao's arrow was about to hit his lord's statue, he swung his sword and instantly chopped the arrow into pieces, turning it into a little light and disappearing. Swish. At the same time, two figures quickly came to Wan Yongchang's side and stood with him. Wang Chao. The two figures were the brothers Long Fi Hung and Long Fi Feng. When 11ze took a few people to the colorful swamp before, he did not bring the two people. Their eyes fell on Wang Chao, who had just shot the arrow. Wang Chao used to be their subordinate. He was experienced and steady, and could be considered a talent. But the original Wang Chao had very poor talent. He had just cultivated to the early stage of the second stage at the age of 150, and he was no longer destined to live forever. That was why they did not take Wang Chao with them when they fled the important town of Longtan. But now, they looked at Wang Chao with an incredible look on their faces. Peak of the third stage. With such a cultivation level, not to mention Long Fi Feng, who was in the middle stage of the third stage, even Long Fi Hung, who was at the peak of the third stage, was only at the same level as Wang Chao. Compared with his cultivation level, the power of Wang Chao's arrow just now shocked the two of them even more. But how could this be possible? How long has it been? How could Wang Chao improve so quickly? Both of them were puzzled. Do you know this person? Seeing the abnormal expressions of the two, Wan Yongchang asked. Being able to shoot an arrow comparable to an ordinary fourth-level cultivator with the cultivation level of the peak of the third stage can definitely be called an outstanding talent. This man's name is Wang Chao. Hearing the question from Wan Yongchang, Long Fi Hung quickly recounted Wang Chao's origins. After introducing Wang Chao, Long Fi Hung followed up with, also, the man in the black and red robe is Chen Ronghuo. I have some impression of the old man in the flame robe. He should be Changsun Gengzhang, the younger brother of Changsun Gengzin who disappeared 100 years ago. The woman is Changsun Yi. Chen Ronghuo actually joined forces with Beiwu City and attacked at this time. None of 11ze and others who had left Beiwu City before returned. Their fate was obvious. Facing Chen Ronghuo and the Changsun family who came together, Long Fi Hung and Long Fi Feng had no choice but to be afraid. But at this time, they could only put their hopes on the mysterious Wan Yongchang. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Chaoji Dupang. Chapter 278. Wan Yongchang, a 4th-level late-stage purple blood warrior. Warrior talent, 5. Special ability, Ancestral Blood Inheritance, Purple Blood Inheritance. Skills, Purple Extreme Magic Skills. Martial Arts, Purple Extreme Swordsmanship. Secret Technique, Sword Escape Technique. Formerly known as Zhigenun. He was the owner of Purple Blood Island 1,000 years ago, and a 5th-level Peak King level practitioner. Because he was seriously injured 1,000 years ago, his soul was sealed in the 5th level top-grade secret treasure purple soft sword. After 1,000 years of recuperation, most of his soul injuries have recovered, and not long ago, he used special means to seize the body of the Black Mist City Lord Wan Yongchang, and transformed Wan Yongchang's physique into a purple blood body. Status: poisoned, rejected. Wan Yongchang's body is constantly rejecting Xuanhuan's soul. From a distance, when Wan Yongchang looked at him, Chen Ronghuo also identified the attributes of Wan Yongchang. A 5th level Peak King level warrior seized his body and was reborn? After identifying the attributes of Wan Yongchang, Chen Ronghuo's eyes immediately showed a trace of solemnity. When he was in Lushwiven town before, he deduced Wan Yongchang and found that the energy consumed was much more than the deduction of Changsun Gengjiang. He didn't know why at that time. It was not until this moment that he suddenly realized. Chen Ronghuo, Changsun family. At the same time, Wan Yongchang also set his eyes on Chen Ronghuo and his party, and murderous aura burst out. A few juniors dare to plot against me and come to trouble me. His voice was cold, sweeping like eternal ice, as if to freeze Chen Ronghuo and his party on the spot. This time, none of you can leave. Boom. A powerful momentum was released from Wan Yongchang's body. He directly burned a large amount of faith power and temporarily raised his own cultivation to the level equivalent to a half-step 5th level cultivator. When his strength skyrocketed, he stood in the Black Mist City, like a towering mountain, and immediately brought great pressure to Chen Ronghuo and his party. Because of the poison in his body, Wan Yongchang went all out as soon as he attacked. Buzz. With a roar, he raised the 5th level top-grade secret treasure purple blood soft sword in his hand, carrying a tremendous momentum, like a purple dragon raising its head, and wanted to rush straight to Chen Ronghuo and his party. You dare to attack me? In the distance, Chen Ronghuo saw Wan Yongchang attack, holding the disaster bead in his right hand, and glaring at him while slowly rotating. I curse, all those who attack me, bad luck will burst out in an instant. I curse you, your past soul injury will worsen as my voice falls. The body you forcibly seized will violently reject you at this moment. The poison you suppressed will be completely released at this moment. The power of faith that does not belong to you will not be used by you. Chen Ronghuo, who had tasted the sweetness when fighting Li Bing, saw Wan Yongchang wanted to attack, and immediately used the spell of words under the blessing of the disaster bead. Before, when he fought Li Bing, his cultivation was only at the peak of the 3rd level. Although he burned the power of faith at that time, his cultivation was similar to that of a 4th level cultivator. But at that time, he had not really stepped into the 4th level after all, and it was also the first time he used the power of the 4th level, so in fact, that time, he did not fully exert the strength of a 4th level cultivator. At this time, as he officially entered the 4th level, he cast the spell again. Almost at the moment when his words fell, the strange and terrifying curse power followed the path in the dark and acted on Wan Yongchang. Wan Yongchang, who had just raised the purple blood soft sword, immediately felt his soul and body throbbing. The next moment, his injuries, which had been stabilized, began to worsen as Chen Ronghuo said. His body also began to reject his soul. The poison of the 5-color poisonous cloud that he had been infected with during the previous battle with Li Bing could no longer be suppressed and began to erupt in his body. Even the mysterious power that he had just burned the power of faith and transformed into began to diminish at this moment. You. Wan Yongchang looked at Chen Ronghuo from a distance, his face full of shock. But Chen Ronghuo ignored the shock in Wan Yongchang's heart. While consuming a large amount of soul power to perform the spell of words, activating the beads of disaster and cursing Wan Yongchang, Chen Ronghuo quickly turned his head and set his eyes on Changsun Gengjiang, who was not far away. Suddenly, he shouted. Changsun Gengjiang, if you don't take action now, when will you take action? Changsun Gengjiang was stunned. He thought that when Chen Ronghuo came to Black Mist City, even if he took action against Wan Yongchang, he would probably communicate with Wan Yongchang first, and then take action after the negotiation failed. But he didn't expect that as soon as they saw Wan Yongchang would directly attack them after a few words. And Chen Ronghuo was even more decisive than Wan Yongchang. Without even saying a word, Chen Ronghuo performed a strange secret technique, which put Wan Yongchang directly into crisis. Taking a deep breath, Chang Soon Gengjang immediately took out a flame spear with countless flame patterns on it after receiving Chen Ronghuo's order. This flame spear is a 4th-level top-grade secret treasure. It is a top-grade treasure he got from the demon-sealed land. He lacked combat experience and had not practiced many combat-related secret arts, so his strength was entirely driven by his cultivation. He relied on his advanced cultivation to activate the secret treasure. Boom! After taking out the flame spear, Chang Soon Gengjang shook his hand and used the power of his soul to control the flame spear, causing it to burn with blazing flames. With a terrifying scream, it pierced towards Wan Yongchang's chest from a distance. The wind was howling. Even if Chang Soon Gengjang's actual combat ability was poor, he was also a 4th-order late-stage cultivator. With all his strength, the flame spear also revealed its own powerful power. In the distance, seeing that the flame spear activated by Chang Soon Gengjang was about to pierce his chest, Wan Yongchang's eyes flashed with madness. The next moment, he suddenly gave up resisting all the negative effects in his body, and injected his strength into the purple blood soft sword again, trying to block Chang Soon Gengjang's shot. In the past, he would not take Chang Soon Gengjang's shot, which was completely without technical content, seriously. But at this moment, he had to give it his all. Seal. At this moment, Chen Ronghuo, who had just finished the spell, saw the madness in Wan Yongchang's eyes and gently uttered 2 words, just like when he fought against Li Bing in Lushwiven town. As Chen Ronghuo's remaining half of his soul power was injected into the ancient book, Wan Yongchang's expression immediately froze there. Then Chang Soon Gengjang, who originally did not have much confidence in his own attack, suddenly saw that the flaming spear he had sent out, with a puff, pierced through Wan Yongchang's chest, bringing up a large piece of black poisonous blood, spilling all over the ground. After one shot, Wan Yongchang, who had held on to the limit, could no longer hold on. With a splash, his whole body turned into a pool of poisonous water under the effect of the 5-colored poisonous pill cloud. A 5th-level king-level cultivator from 1,000 years ago died here without much trouble. What did I do? Just seeing all this, Chang Soon Gengjang was bewildered. I killed a cultivator of the same level with one shot. Killed Wan Yongchang. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 279. Chapter 276, First Update. Why didn't Wan Yongchang dodge just now? My flame spear has the ability to lock souls. Could it be that he was locked by my flame spear? Although Chang Soon Gengjang hasn't fought with others for a long time, he is not completely ignorant of fighting. Just now, Wan Yongchang looked like he was ready to raise his sword to block his spear. But when his spear approached, Wan Yongchang seemed to be fixed there. In addition, Chen Ronghuo just stood there without any follow-up actions, so he misunderstood it all of a sudden. Could it be that I am not weak? Swoosh. At this moment, a ray of black light suddenly rushed out from the pool of black water that Wan Yongchang had transformed into. The black light flickered, revealing a human figure, and like a flash of lightning, it quickly attached itself to the purple blood soft sword that fell from the air. Soul of Wan Yongchang. Status, severely injured. Chen Ronghuo's eyes flashed, and he quickly identified the black light. But at this moment, before Chen Ronghuo could make a move, the flaming spear that Chang Soon Gengjang had just thrown out, when it passed through the chest of Wan Yongchang, a spark swayed to the back, and swept past, and then ignited the black shadow that was about to possess the purple blood soft sword into a flame, and instantly turned into black smoke, and disappeared into the void with a few shrill howls. It was not until this time that Xuanhuan Chang, who was once a 5th level peak cultivator and was originally named Xuanhuan, really died. Good spearmanship. Seeing this scene, Chen Ronghuo turned his head and looked at Chang Soon Gengjiang, revealing a trace of surprise. With a little spark, the soul of Xuanhuan Chang who was about to escape was licked and burned. This exquisite control really made him feel amazing. He didn't expect that Chang Soon Gengjiang was so good at fighting in addition to being good at alchemy. Without long-term practice, it would be impossible to do such a method just now. However, Chang Soon Gengjiang looked confused. He wanted to say that it was just an accident. But when the words came to his lips, he took them back. It's better to let Chen Ronghuo misunderstand. This may make Chen Ronghuo feel timid and regard him as a strong man. Moreover, maybe he is really a strong man. He once heard that there is a kind of person who is born with extremely strong luck. Even if he is not strong, he will be lucky in the battle and win for various reasons. Maybe he is that kind of person. He was very lucky when refining pills. He could always refine pills of excellent quality. There were even pills that often mutated for various reasons during the refining process, so that he could often refine new varieties of pills. It's just that because he was addicted to refining pills, he hadn't fought with anyone for too long, so he didn't know how lucky he was in the battle. Thinking of this, he decided to experiment when he returned to Beiwu Island afterwards. Is Xuanhuan Chang dead? At this time, all the cultivators in Black Mist City were shocked when they saw Xuanhuan Chang was killed instantly by Chen Ronghuo and his party. Xuanhuan Chang had accumulated great prestige in Black Mist City and Black Mist Island. No one expected that he would die so easily at the hands of Chen Ronghuo and his party. Just one blow. Long Fiheng, who was originally standing next to Xuanhuan Chang, and the two brothers Long Fifeng were frozen in place. At this time, Chen Ronghuo and his party were facing them. So that they dared not even to escape, let alone resist. Long Fiheng was once the lord of an important town. Even on the entire White Mist Island, he had a name and was a big man worshipped by countless people. At this moment, he saw Xuanhuan Chang die instantly at the hands of Chen Ronghuo and his party, and immediately made a judgment, knowing that Black Mist Island was over. Knowing that it would not take long for the war in the sea area to end completely. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Just as Long Fiheng was thinking this, Chen Ronghuo had already led his men to quickly flash across the sky and directly arrived above the Lord's mansion of Black Mist City. The Black Mist City guards saw this scene, and no one dared to intercept them. Even the Lord they worshipped as a god had been killed. Who would dare to intercept such a group of killing gods? Did they want to die? After landing, Chen Ronghuo stretched out his hand. He picked up the purple blood soft sword that Xuanhuan Chang had dropped to the ground, as well as his storage equipment. The soul power that was condensed like substance surged, and Chen Ronghuo broke the seal of Xuanhuan Chang's storage equipment. His consciousness swept through it, but he shook his head and did not find the treasure he wanted most. After thinking about it, he moved his mind again, using the power of the ancient book to deduce where the treasure was hidden. Sure enough. After a moment, a hint of understanding appeared in Chen Ronghuo's eyes. The item he was looking for was the treasure of Black Mist Island, the Black Mist Spirit Pearl. Through deduction, he found that the Black Mist Spirit Pearl and the White Mist Spirit Pearl, the treasure of White Mist Island, were not carried by anyone. Instead, they were placed in the Lord's mansion of the two cities. Chen Ronghuo turned his head and looked at Chang Soon Gengjiang and Chang Soon Yi, who were still outside the city and did not follow them in. A strange look appeared on his face and he smiled and said, "You too. If you want to know about Chang Soon Gengzin, then come in with me." Outside the city, eldest grandson Gengjiang and eldest grandson looked startled when they heard this. Originally, they had planned to say goodbye to Chen Ronghuo and leave. But they didn't expect that at this moment, Chen Ronghuo actually set another hook for them, so that they had to act according to Chen Ronghuo's ideas. Their figures flashed, and after they came to Chen Ronghuo, they said in a deep voice, "Lord Chen, are you really planning to tell us this?" "Certainly." Chen Ronghuo smiled, "But now that Wan Yongchang has just died, I still have a lot of things to do. So if you two really want to know the update of Chang Sun and why he took the initiative to stay in our Lushwiven town, you can wait for me in the city for a while." When the eldest grandson Gengjiang and the eldest grandson heard this, their expressions became uncertain. At the same time, after Chen Ronghuo finished speaking, he turned his head and stopped talking to the two of them. He cast his gaze on the dynasty on the side and said, "Dynasty, from now on, this Black Mist City and Black Mist Island will be ours. Next, you should pay more attention and establish the rules as soon as possible to prevent big troubles." "Lord, don't worry." Dynasty nodded immediately. Compared with Chen Ronghuo's other subordinates, Dynasty is not only powerful, but also a general. At the same time, he is also proficient in management and command, and can also be a commander. After handing the task to Dynasty, Chen Ronghuo turned his head again, looked at Zhu Daipen and Li Haishui and said, "You two will also work with Dynasty to assist him and stabilize Black Mist City and other towns on Black Mist Island as soon as possible. Come down." "Lord." After hearing this, both of them looked at Changsun Gengjiang and Changsun Yi. Their identity is Chen Ronghuo's bodyguards. Now that two fourth-level practitioners, Changsun Gengjiang and Changsun Yi, are standing next to Chen Ronghuo, they are really worried. "Go ahead." Seeing the expressions of the two people, Chen Ronghuo shook his head and said, "With my strength, no one can do anything to me on this Black Mist Island. Moreover, Huang Lin is guarding me. What are you worried about?" "Yes." Thinking of Huang Lin, the two felt relieved. After saying goodbye to Chen Ronghuo, he went with Chao Chao. However, on the side, Changsun Gengjiang and Changsun Yi or two, who also heard Huang Lin's name, changed their expressions. They were all deeply impressed by Chen Ronghuo's strong man who was good at hiding. Before that, they all thought that Huang Lin was missing and had gone somewhere else. But he didn't expect that Huang Lin would be beside Chen Ronghuo. They slightly released their soul power and wanted to see where Huang Lin was. But even if they checked all the subtle fluctuations around them, they couldn't find Huang Lin. "I don't know where Huang Lin is hiding." The two looked at each other and saw the solemn look in each other's eyes. Obviously the invisible Huang Lin put great pressure on them all. However, after Chen Ronghuo finished giving orders to his subordinates, he turned his head and cast his gaze on Changsun Gengjiang and Changsun Yi. Seeing their solemn expressions, he secretly shook his head. "I lament that these two people are really easy to fool." Except for Chen Ronghuo himself, no one knew that he had already sent Huang Lin out after his cultivation reached the 4th level. Huang Lin is not here at all now. Instead, he went to Beiwu Island alone. According to Chen Ronghuo's instructions, he went to get the Beiwu Spirit Pearl on Beiwu Island. For Chen Ronghuo, using Changsun Gengjiang to deal with Wan Yongchang is just his first step. The two strongest people on Beiwu Island are both here. If he doesn't do something, he will be sorry for their cooperation. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Landing 300 Years in Advance. Author, Chao Ji Dupang. Chapter 280. You too. After sending Zhu Daipen and Li Haishui away, Chen Ronghuo turned his head and set his sights on Long Fi Hung and Long Fi Feng, who were not far away and dared not escape or resist. "Lord Chen." Seeing that Chen Ronghuo finally looked at him, Long Fei Hung immediately stepped forward and said respectfully, although we two brothers were once enemies of Lord Chen. But I think with Lord Chen's broad mind, if we want to join Lord Chen should not mind, right? Through the scene just now, Long Fei Hung could see that Chen Ronghuo and the Chang Sun family were not together. At the same time, Chang Sun Gengjiang and Chang Sun Yi both obviously had handles in Chen Ronghuo's hands. So that they had to be led by Chen Ronghuo. In this way, he naturally knew who had the best future to follow. In addition, Long Fei Hung thought of Chang Sun Gengzin, whom he had met in Lushwiven town before, and had already classified Chen Ronghuo as someone who should never be provoked. In his opinion, Chen Ronghuo was too mysterious and his methods were too powerful. Although as the leader of the three major towns of Beiwu Island, Long Fei Hung also had his own pride. But this kind of pride also depends on who he faces. Hearing Long Fei Hung's words, Chen Ronghuo looked at the two of them for a few times, and after a little hesitation, he said, "In this case, then you two should follow and help me stabilize the Black Mist City as soon as possible." Both of them are third-level practitioners. Among them, Long Fei Hung has the cultivation of the peak of the third level. It is a pity to kill him like this. Although Chen Ronghuo knows that the two will definitely not really obey him in their hearts. But he specializes in dealing with disobedience. And those who do great things must have a broad mind. So Chen Ronghuo decided. After returning, let Wen Jingluo use the 3 third-level ghosts obtained from Ma Zixuan to refine them into ghost contract talismans and use them on the two of them. So you accept us? Are we going to start working now? After receiving Chen Ronghuo's reply, Long Fei Hung and Long Fei Hang were both at a loss. Originally, they were still thinking about what their fate would be. Would they be captured by Chen Ronghuo as prisoners? But they didn't expect that Chen Ronghuo would deal with them so simply. He didn't even find someone to watch them, and he wasn't afraid that they would run away. Vigorous and resolute. Bold and decisive. The two could only use such adjectives to describe Chen Ronghuo. Chen Ronghuo didn't know what the two were thinking, but even if he knew, he didn't care. With the current situation, it wouldn't take long for him to control both Beiwu Island and Hiwu Island. And under such a situation, even if Long Fei Hung and Long Fei Feng really ran away, where could they run to? Beiwu Island and Hiwu Island are located in remote areas, and the 3 nearest islands, Qinghuo Island, Jibing Island, and Baishan Island, are all thousands of miles away. In the past, with the strength of Long Fei Hung and Long Fei Hang, it was nothing to travel 1,000 miles. But now, because of the gate of the Black Demon Star, demons are rampant in the sea, and the powerful demons are many times more than before. If the two want to travel 1,000 miles to reach the 3 islands, they will have to go through many difficulties and obstacles. Even with their strength, whether they can finally reach the island is still a question. After watching the two leave in a daze, Chen Ronghuo turned his head and looked at Chang Sun Gengjiang and Chang Sun Yi again. "You two, I still have some things to deal with next, so I won't entertain you. In my Black Mist City, you can go anywhere you want." After he finished speaking, he took a step without waiting for the two to react, and walked straight to the Lord's mansion of Black Mist City. "Your Black Mist City?" Behind him, Chang Sun Gengjiang and Chang Sun Yi looked at each other. This person is really adaptable. Because he had deduced it in ancient books beforehand, Chen Ronghuo walked into the Lord's mansion of Black Mist City with ease. Wan Yongchang had no relatives. Or rather, the original Wan Yongchang had relatives. But these relatives had all been forced to leave Black Mist Island by Wan Yongchang for various reasons during this period of time. As for where he went after leaving Black Mist Island, it was naturally self-evident. The Lord's mansion of Wan Yongchang was black in color, with a dark nobility. No one dared to stop Chen Ronghuo. After Chen Ronghuo walked in, he soon came to the exclusive secret room of Wan Yongchang, which was forbidden to anyone on weekdays. This was a secret room built underground. In front of the secret room, there was a long metal corridor. Chen Ronghuo walked in, and at the end of the corridor, a dark secret room door with a three-headed evil dog image tattooed on it blocked his way. A gate with restrictions. It can identify Wan Yongchang's true body only when Wan Yongchang comes in person will this gate open. The restrictions and formations of the God's continent are somewhat similar. Both are runes containing the power of rules, forming rune chains, and then formed through different combinations. After identifying the properties of this huge gate, Chen Ronghuo shook his head, walked up, and put his left hand on it. 10 minutes later, Chen Ronghuo waved his hand, and the gate that was blocking him before was turned into ashes in front of him. Chen Ronghuo raised his head. There is a kind of person who is born with a kind of aura. Nothing can stop him. Walking into the secret room, I saw that the simple secret room was empty, with only a crystal clear black bead suspended in the air, which attracted my attention. From a distance, the center of the bead was hazy with mist. Faintly showing black and white, it seemed like two dragons of different colors entangled together. Black Mist Spirit Pearl, innate spirit pearl born on Black Mist Island. Attribute, Yin. Incorporated the power of the 12 black and white mist evil origins. Possesses the ability to suppress the island. When suppressing the island, it cannot be stored in the storage equipment. The Black Mist Spirit Pearl contains the residual souls of people who died on Black Mist Island for countless years, which can be used as a Yin attribute secret treasure. Long-term holding can change the qualifications of the holder. After refining a life with 28 black and white mist evil origin powers, and obtaining the Black Mist Spirit Bead and the White Mist Spirit Bead at the same time, you can refine them into your body together, completely control the two spirit beads, and thus greatly change your physical qualifications, increase your cultivation, and gain the ability to open the demon-sealed land. Finally got it? Chen Ronghuo stepped forward, without any hesitation, and held it in his hand. It felt cold, like touching ice. But Chen Ronghuo didn't care. After getting the Black Mist Spirit Bead, he just played with it a little and walked out of the Lord's mansion. Lord Chen, can you tell us about my eldest brother now? Seeing Chen Ronghuo coming out, Changsun Gengjiang and Changsun Yi, who had been waiting outside, came over immediately. Wait, right now, I have one last thing to do, and I can tell you after it's done. But you can also come with me first. Chen Ronghuo agreed, and then went straight to the Golden Temple in the Black Mist City. Upon hearing this, Changsun Gengjiang and Changsun Yi looked at each other and hurriedly followed. Hello, dear guest, number 54544 is here to serve you. In the Golden Temple, a gold coin elf emitting golden light flew in front of Chen Ronghuo. Help me send this to Xiaoruo in Lushwiven town. Chen Ronghuo flipped his hand and took out the Black Mist Spirit Bead he had just obtained. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 281. Black Mist Spirit Pearl. Seeing what Chen Ronghuo took out, Changsun Yi couldn't help but let out a cry. The Black Mist Spirit Pearl is the treasure of Black Mist Island, and it has been passed down for who knows how many years. This thing, like the White Mist Spirit Pearl, has an important function, which is to improve the qualifications of the holder. Chang Sungzhen's qualification is 5. Chang Sunyi's qualification is also 5. Even the other people in the Chang Sun family have good qualifications. This is not just because the genes of the Chang Sun family are powerful. In fact, it was because Chang Sun Gengjiang got the White Mist Spirit Pearl that he was able to destroy the Moli family hundreds of years ago. Chang Sun Gengjiang and Chang Sunyi knew that Chen Ronghuo would definitely get the Black Mist Spirit Pearl in his hands after getting the storage equipment of Wan Yongchang and entering the Lord's mansion of Black Mist City. But when they really saw Chen Ronghuo taking this thing out, their eyes were still distracted for a moment. The delivery fee for this item is 100,000 copper coins. The gold coin elf quoted a price to Chen Ronghuo. Then deliver it. Chen Ronghuo waved his hand, and the copper coin card appeared in his hand, and threw it to the gold coin elf together with the black mist spirit bead. The gold coin elf took it, and the copper coin card was immediately deducted 100,000 copper coins. Then the gold coin elf's body flashed with golden light, and the black mist spirit bead that flew towards it disappeared in the eyes of several people. Seeing that the black mist spirit bead just appeared in their eyes and disappeared in the blink of an eye, Chang Sun Gengzhang and Chang Sun Yi's breathing became slightly faster. They who controlled the white mist bead naturally knew how important the black mist spirit bead was. For them, the black mist spirit bead was the foundation treasure of the family, the treasure of the clan, which was no less than the white mist spirit bead. Lord Chen has a good will. Take a deep breath, Chang Sun Gengzhang said with emotion. If I get this treasure, I will definitely play with it in my hands. I am afraid I can't practice with peace of mind for a few days. Chang Sun Yi didn't say anything, but he also showed the same look. A person who has no desire is strong. A person who can control his desire is definitely the most difficult to deal with. This is just a small matter. But through this small matter, they once again realized that Chen Ronghuo is definitely the enemy of their Chang Sun family. Chen Ronghuo raised his head and smiled slightly. He really has a strong control over his desires. But the reason why he didn't play with the black mist spirit bead too much is because, instead of playing with such a dead thing, it is better to wait for the big river crab to refine it and then play with the big river crab directly. Boom! As soon as the few people walked out of the golden temple, they heard a continuous rumbling sound outside. It seemed like a big earthquake. And in fact, it was indeed the case. Chen Ronghuo sent the black mist spirit pearl away through the golden temple. Without the suppression of this object, this large island that condensed 12 important towns and Black Mist City was immediately crushed into hundreds of pieces under the pressure of various forces. Broken into hundreds of floating islands. From the air, it looked like a large piece of dry biscuit that fell to the ground and broke into pieces. Only Black Mist City, because it is the core of Black Mist Island and has special geology, did not break. Chang Sun Gengzhang and Chang Sun Yi raised their heads and saw this scene, and they were silent. The Black Mist Island that has been passed down for who knows how many years was destroyed. I don't know if their Chang Sun family's White Mist Island can hold up against the fierce attack of the person in front of them. If it can hold up, how long can it hold up? Find out about the eldest brother as soon as possible. After finding out about the eldest brother, return to the island immediately and take drugs to improve your cultivation. Chang Sun Gengzhang gritted his teeth. He didn't believe that if all 5 of them took drugs, 5 4th-level cultivators would not be able to resist Chen Ronghuo. If you want to know about Chang Sun Gengzin, I'll tell you at this moment. Chen Ronghuo, who had just glanced at the changes in Black Mist Island and then retracted his gaze, looked at the two of them, smiled strangely, and then slowly said, I don't know if you know that Chang Sun Gengzin has a short lifespan due to a hidden injury in his early years. The reason why he left Beiwu City is related to this matter. At the same time, he used to have a maid named Mo Licking. Hearing that Chen Ronghuo actually took the initiative to talk about this, Chang Sun Gengzhang and Chang Sun Yi looked at each other and hurried to listen. But what they didn't know was that at the same time, when Chen Ronghuo was telling them this long story with some literary processing, Huang Lin, who had been invisible all the way and hurried on his way, finally arrived at Beiwu Island and Beiwu City. Even Chen Ronghuo, who had broken through to the 4th level, didn't dare to travel so fast. But Huang Lin was not afraid at all. It was for this reason that Chang Sun Gengzhang and Chang Sun Yi did not expect that in such a short time, Huang Lin had already reached the White Mist Island they had been thinking about returning to. On the wall of White Mist City, the 3 brothers Chang Sun Ping, Chang Sunan, and Chang Sun Sheng looked at the direction of Black Mist Island from afar, with tension and expectation on their faces. Brother! Chang Sun Sheng said, Do you think that the second uncle and the third sister will go to Black Mist Island and will not be discovered by Wanyang Chang? Don't say discouraging words, Chang Soon Ping scolded, we have already had people explore it in advance. The five-colored swamp is in the important town of Black Rain. It is the seaside area of Black Mist Island, and few people go there on weekdays. The second uncle and the third sister will definitely not be discovered if they go there. And even if they are discovered, with the strength of the second uncle and the third sister, there is no danger. Big brother is right, Chang Sunping also said, what we have to do now is to pray for the second uncle and the third sister, and to protect the White Mist City. The Lord said that the White Mist Spirit Pearl is placed in the secret vault of the White Mist City, and the secret vault is built underground. Just as the three people of the Chang Soon family were discussing, Huang Lin, who was invisible, glanced at the few people a few hundred meters away from them, muttered to himself, and then changed direction, bypassed the three people, and sneaked into the Black Mist City. Huang Lin's ability to hide in the shadows is extremely rare. Among the practitioners below the 5th level, few people have the ability to be invisible. And even if they can be invisible, they can't do it to Huang Lin's level. After entering the Black Mist City, Huang Lin recalled the map that Chen Ronghuo had sent to him through voice transmission before coming here, and groped all the way, and soon passed through many obstacles. Obstacles, found the entrance to the underground secret room of Beiwu City. Puff! Puff! Huang Lin stepped forward, and without a sound, he slashed the necks of the two second-level guards guarding the entrance. However, because of Chen Ronghuo's prior instructions, he did not kill the two men. Instead, he just used a dagger to cut a layer of skin on the necks of the two men, and some blood flowed. When he attacked, Huang Lin had already revealed his body. The two people whose necks were slashed by Huang Lin were shocked to see Huang Lin appear. But in just a moment, they were paralyzed by the powerful paralysis poison smeared on the dagger by Huang Lin and fell down. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 282. This secret room in Beiwu City is somewhat similar to the secret room in Hiwu City, both of which are built underground. There is also a long corridor in front of the secret room. At the end of the corridor, there is also a gate with a forbidden mechanism. After Huang Lin dealt with the two second-level guards, he immediately pulled the two and put them far away at the corner. Then he walked into the corridor and looked at the door at the end. After thinking for a while, he took out two black beads from the storage equipment and threw them forward. The two beads immediately rolled to the side of the door. Explosion! Huang Lin's mind moved. Immediately, the two beads flashed with black light, and two consecutive rumbles exploded in the metal corridor one after another. These two beads were the treasures of the Moli descendants that Chen Ronghuo got from Shuejun in Haihu City. They were dark thunder beads with large-scale attack-killing weapons. However, Chen Ronghuo had never used this thing, so he gave it to Huang Lin. Huang Lin was an assassin, and had never used this thing. This time, he had an idea and directly used these two large-scale attack-type killing weapons here. It is conceivable how powerful this large-scale attack-type killing weapon can be used in such a small space. As the two dark magic beads exploded underground, the entire White Mist City shook a few times and a huge roar was heard. In the billowing black smoke, Huang Lin walked out from the corner, with a slightly diamond-shaped cold look. Through the smoke, he looked forward and saw that the originally unbreakable mechanism door had been blown out with a big hole. The original metal corridor was expanded countless times. The speed at which he violently broke through the mechanism door of the White Mist City was countless times faster than the speed at which Chen Ronghuo broke through the mechanism door of the Black Mist City. What's going on? Could it be that the world has changed again, and monsters are going to appear again? At this moment, the whole Beiwu City was shocked by this huge change. The last time they felt this kind of change was when the world changed and the islands separated. No. It's in the underground secret room. The three brothers of the Changsun family, who were used to discussing things on the walls of Beiwu City, realized something was wrong the moment the explosion sounded, and knew what went wrong. They knew exactly where the Beiwu Spirit Pearl was hidden. The Beiwu Spirit Pearl was the foundation of their Changsun family's rise. Once it was lost. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. After realizing that something was wrong, the three brothers immediately turned into three white lights like lightning and rushed straight to the underground secret room. Boom. The three of them are all third-level practitioners. And because of the large number of demons killed on the Black Demon Star during this period, Changsun Ping is already a third-level peak practitioner. The other two are also in the late third level. With their cultivation, they arrived at the underground secret room almost instantly. When they arrived here, they saw two guards lying in the distance, with a layer of skin broken on their necks and bleeding. The two guards were poisoned with special anesthetics. It was just that their bodies could not move, and their soul power was not released in a short period of time. But they did not lose consciousness. Therefore, when they saw the three brothers of the Changsun family coming, the two of them immediately widened their eyes and their eyeballs moved slightly. When Changsun Ping and the other two came here, they just glanced at the two people, and their eyes saw the broken door inside through the remaining smoke. And the missing white mist spirit pearl. Seeing this scene, the three brothers of Changsun Ping were all shocked, and their faces showed an extremely pale color. Boom. The next moment, the three brothers moved their bodies, left here, and flew into the air. Three pairs of eyes scanned at the same time, looking for suspicious people. The Golden Temple of White Mist City. Huanglin walked in unhurriedly, took out the White Mist Spirit Pearl, handed it to the Gold Coin Elf and said, "Help me send this to Xiaoruo in Greenwater Baytown." Seeing Huanglin's White Mist Spirit Pearl, the Gold Coin Elf in front of him was stunned. As a Gold Coin Elf in White Mist City, it naturally knew who the White Mist Spirit Pearl belonged to. At the same time, several White Mist City practitioners in the Golden Temple suddenly turned their heads when they heard Huanglin say the words Greenwater Baytown, and set their eyes on him and the White Mist Spirit Pearl in his hand. White Mist Spirit Pearl, this is the White Mist Spirit Pearl. Suddenly, one person exclaimed. As the sacred object of White Mist City, the White Mist Spirit Pearl is not always placed in the secret room. Every time there is an important festival, the Changsun family will invite the White Mist Spirit Pearl to let the people of White Mist City worship the White Mist Spirit Pearl together. In fact, worshipping the White Mist Spirit Pearl itself has no effect. However, due to the special significance of the White Mist Spirit Pearl, it can gather the hearts of the people in White Mist City, thereby obtaining a more refined power of faith. So, many people in White Mist City know the White Mist Spirit Pearl. Coupled with the Greenwater Baytown mentioned by Huanglin, and the huge explosion just heard in the city, several people in the Golden Temple suddenly thought of something, and stared at Huanglin. But Huanglin was not afraid of this. Not to mention that these people are not as strong as him, the fact that he cannot take action in the Golden Temple can make him feel at ease. It takes 100,000 copper coins to transmit this thing. At this time, the Gold Coin Elf finally reacted. Upon hearing this, Huanglin immediately handed over his bronze card. After the Gold Coin Elf deducted 100,000 copper coins from it, he quickly passed the White Mist Spirit Pearl from Beiwu City to Lushwiven Town. Boom! In an instant, a scene exactly like the one that happened on Black Mist Island appeared on White Mist Island. The huge island suddenly split into dozens of parts. Under the influence of a huge force, they all quickly approached the direction of Greenwater Baytown. How is that possible? How could it be so fast? In Beiwu City, Changsun Ping and the other two people who were frantically looking for the person who had stolen the Beiwu spiritual pearl suddenly turned extremely pale when they saw this scene. The collapse of Beiwu Island was obviously because the Beiwu spiritual pearl was no longer on Beiwu Island. It hasn't been too long since the last change in the world. Even though Zhang Sunping and others knew that the Golden Temple had a teleportation function, they had never used it before, so they didn't think about it at all. The thief is here. The thief who stole the white mist spirit pearl is here. Suddenly, loud shouts rang out from the front of the Golden Temple. These people who were drinking loudly were the same people who had just met Huanglin in the Golden Temple. Golden Temple? Hearing these shouts, Zhang, Sunping, and the other two people were moved in their hearts and turned their heads. When they saw the Golden Temple, they immediately knew why the Beiwu Lingzu left Beiwu Island so quickly. 3 of you, my lord asked me to bring you a message. At this moment, Huanglin slowly walked out of the Golden Temple. The thing is this: at the same time, in Black Mist City, Chen Ronghuo finally told the story about Changsun Gengjiang to Changsun Gengjiang and 1 or 2 Chang sons. I guess that the reason why Changsun Gengzin stayed here was we in Lushwiven town do this firstly to repay my kindness, and secondly because of the magic gift. If you want Changsun Gengzin to leave our Lushwiven town, I will not stop him, but the premise is that you can do it. We understand. After hearing this, the eldest grandson Gengjiang said, since the matter here is over, let's go back to Beiwu Island first. Okay, Chen Ronghuo smiled and glanced at the sun. It's almost time. You two can go back if you want. Is it almost time? The two looked at each other, neither knowing why. But they didn't think much about it. After saying goodbye to Chen Ronghuo, they quickly left Black Mist Island. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 283. Greenwater Baytown. Xiaoruo, Ho-san, and others stood on the city wall, looking in the direction of Black Mist Island. Before Chen Ronghuo left, he explained to everyone, and everyone knew that if nothing unexpected happened, Chen Ronghuo, Huanglin and others would return to Greenwater Town soon. Sir Xiao, do you think that this time when the Lord and his men go to Black Mist Island, they will not cause as much trouble as the last time they went to the Mad Blade Town? Wen Jingluo, who was dressed in aqua blue, stood beside Xiaoruo and joked. Difficult. Xiaoruo didn't take Wen Jingluo's words as a joke. He thought about it and analyzed. Black Mist Island is different from the 3 major towns of White Mist Island. The Lord once said that the current island owner of Black Mist Island has a cultivation level of the late 4th stage. With such a cultivation level, if the power of faith is burned, the strength that can be exerted is unimaginable. That's right, Ho-san also said, with the Lord sitting in Greenwater Baytown, we are not afraid of anyone. But in terms of real strength, there is still a big gap between our Greenwater Baytown and Black Mist Island. However, with the Lord's ability, it will definitely not take long for our Greenwater Baytown to surpass Black Mist Island. Wen Jingluo was a little helpless. He was just joking, but Xiaoruo and Ho-san actually analyzed it seriously. What's more, Ho-san's trust in Chen Ronghuo was almost blind. However, it won't take long to surpass Black Mist Island. Black Mist Island is not like White Mist Island. White Mist Island was in chaos because Changsun Gengzin was gone, allowing Chen Ronghuo to take advantage of the situation. Black Mist Island, however, has been passed down for who knows how many years, and there are 8 serious 4th-level late-stage practitioners sitting in the island. The two are completely incomparable. Buzz. At this moment, Xiaoruo's mind moved, and he took out his bronze card. A message was transmitted from the bronze card to his heart, and his eyes lit up, saying, "The Lord has sent a letter, you will go to the Golden Temple with me." As he spoke, he immediately ran straight to the Golden Temple in Greenwater Baytown. Xiaoruo's current cultivation has reached the 2nd level. He has become a veritable 2nd-level water sorcerer. For the current Greenwater Baytown, the 2nd level is not considered high, but for the former sickly Xiaoruo, it is absolutely unimaginable. Soon, the group arrived at the Golden Temple. Number 17, I'm here. Where is the thing that my lord sent over? As soon as he entered the Golden Temple, Xuanhuan looked at the gold coin elf in the temple. Now the gold coin elf in Greenwater Bay Town has been replaced by the original number 17 elf in Longton Town. That is the gold coin elf that made a deal with Chen Ronghuo for the first time. This little guy made a deal with Chen Ronghuo and got a sweet taste. His status in the branch halls of the Golden Temple in this area rose. Then, I don't know how to operate it, but he actually transferred to Greenwater Bay Town and relied on Chen Ronghuo again. Here, your lord made a lot of noise this time, don't be scared. Number 17 laughed and shot out a golden light, presenting the black mist spirit bead in front of Xuanhuan and others. The crystal clear black mist spirit bead with black and white mist entangled inside attracted everyone's attention as soon as it appeared. Is this the black mist spiritual pearl? Suddenly, Wen Jingluo, who was joking just now, exclaimed. Black Mist City. Chen Ronghuo watched Chang Sun Gengzhang and Chang Sun Yi leave, with a strange smile on his face. He followed him without stopping, and returned directly to the Lord's mansion, stretched out his left hand, and placed it on Wan Yongchang's Lord statue. This is a Earl-level Lord statue. In the past, Chen Ronghuo would have found it difficult to find out how many attributes it has without breaking it. But now, he is already a 4th-level cultivator. 4th level and 3rd level, these are two completely different realms. After more than 10 minutes, as Chen Ronghuo exhaled, only a translucent image of the Lord statue remained in front of him, and it immediately dissipated like a bubble. In these 10 minutes, he found 15 divine attributes from this Lord statue. And it is the divine attribute of the Earl-level Lord statue, which is far from comparable to the Lord statue of the Baron or Viscount level. Pop! At this time, as the Lord statue completely disappeared, a ball of faith power suddenly rushed out from it. The noble mark on Chen Ronghuo's forehead flashed, and soon all the faith power was absorbed. Although Wan Yongchang had consumed a lot of faith power to bless himself and enhance his strength, he died too quickly. So there was still a lot of faith power left. Now this part of faith power is cheap for Chen Ronghuo. Lord. At this time, Wang Chao came over. Zhu Daipen, Li Haishui, and the two brothers Long Fi Hung and Long Fi Feng also followed. Wang Chao said, Black Mist City has basically stabilized. However, Black Mist Island has just split, and the villages and towns on other floating islands will probably be in chaos for a while. What chaos? Chen Ronghuo put his left hand down, looked at the direction of other floating islands, and smiled. With such a big commotion, I guess everyone is just waiting and watching. As long as the demons coming from the Black Magic Stargate don't riot at this time, there won't be too much trouble. However, since Black Mist City has calmed down, it doesn't hurt for us to go to other floating islands to take a look. Take a look, it's just a cover. The statues of the lords of other territories on the island contain divine attributes, which are what Chen Ronghuo must obtain. Of course, in the process, taking the opportunity to suppress some thugs and rioting demons, thereby preserving the number of people in the Black Mist Island and winning people's hearts, can also play a long-term role for Chen Ronghuo. Chen Ronghuo did what he said. After he finished speaking, he immediately used the ancient book to calculate that going to the floating island first would be most beneficial to him. Long Fi Hung, Long Fi Feng, is it okay for you to stay in Black Mist City? After a moment, Chen Ronghuo calculated the result, his eyes flickered slightly, and he looked at the two brothers of the Long family. The two brothers were shocked. Looking at each other, they saw the incredible and shocked in each other's eyes. Immediately, the two nodded quickly and assured Chen Ronghuo, "Don't worry, Lord, we brothers will definitely help you defend Black Mist City." That's good. After getting the two's reply, Chen Ronghuo waved his hand and immediately took Wang Chao and the other three and rushed to the island he had just calculated. Just seeing Chen Ronghuo's back disappear, the two brothers of the Long family showed a look of dejection in their eyes. At this moment, neither Long Fifeng nor Long Fiheng had any ambition to make a comeback in their hearts. With their minds, they naturally understood that Chen Ronghuo dared to let them stay in Black Mist City. It was not carelessness or arrogance, but confidence. Absolute confidence in himself. Landing 300 years in advance. Author, Xiaoji Depeng. Chapter 284. Roar. Black Mist Island, Blackwater Town. Blackwater Town is the first important town on Black Mist Island. In addition to the Lord of Blackwater Town, Li Zichen, who is a third-level peak cultivator, there are 3 third-level cultivators in the town. But at this moment, the entire Blackwater Town fell into extreme panic. The shouts of adults, the screams of women, and the crying of children came one after another, interweaving into one. At this moment, dozens of demon bulls with 4 hooves burning red flames, led by a demon bull more than 20 meters tall, are attacking the first important town on Black Mist Island. Boom boom boom. Li Zichen burned the power of faith and fought alone with the demon bull with a cultivation level of up to the 4th level, as well as 4 or 5 3rd-level late-stage and 3rd-level peak flame demon bulls. Under the siege of these flame demon bulls, even if Li Zichen burned the power of faith, he still fell into a disadvantage. At the same time, the other people in the Blackwater Town were also beaten to pieces by the remaining flame bulls' flaming hooves. In a short period of time, thousands of people died. Lord, Blackwater Town can no longer be defended. We must find a way to escape. A subtle voice reached Li Zichen's ears through the soul transmission technique. Escape. Li Zichen heard this and smiled bitterly. He now relied on the power of burning faith to barely compete with the 4th-level flame bull in front of him and other demon bulls. If he escaped from the Blackwater Town, this flame bull would chase him closely. If he could not use the Lord's statue to burn the power of faith, would he still be able to survive? Kill. With a crazy look in his eyes, Li Zichen continued to burn the power of faith and continued to fight with the group of flame bulls. For now, he had no choice but to find an opportunity to kill the 4th-level flame bull in front of him to have a glimmer of hope. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Just as the people in Hai Shui were fighting fiercely with the flame demon bull, Chen Ronghuo, Wang Chao, Zhu Deipen, and Li Hai Shui finally arrived here. Lord. Seeing this scene from afar, Zhu Deipen and Li Hai Shui's eyes lit up. Among the flame demon bulls slaughtered in Hai Shui, there were several late-stage 3rd-level or even peak-stage 3rd-level flame demon bulls. The 2 of them were just a little bit away from advancing to the peak of the 3rd level. If they killed these flame demon bulls, they would surely be able to advance in one fell swoop. Go. Chen Ronghuo said. This time, the disaster in Hai Shui was caused by him. He teleported the Black Mist Spirit Pearl back to Greenwater Bay Town, causing the Black Mist Island to fall apart, which was also considered a great disaster. But this great disaster was not caused by him opening the door of disaster and summoning the incarnation of disaster. Although it could also give him some feedback of disaster breath, it was not much. Thinking of this in his heart, Chen Ronghuo looked at the battlefield with a cold light flashing in his eyes. The people of the important town of Hai Shui were already regarded as his forbidden food, so how could he let these flame demon bulls harm them at will? Boom. After receiving Chen Ronghuo's order, Zhu Deipen and Li Hai Shui immediately sped up, and in a flash, they rushed to the center of the battlefield, and at the same time stared at a 3rd-level peak flame demon bull. In the distance, Li Zichen heard the movement, raised his head, and saw Chen Ronghuo and his group. His eyes suddenly lit up. There are many people on Beiwu Island who know Chen Ronghuo, and there are also many on Hiwu Island. But there are not many people on Hiwu Island who know what Chen Ronghuo looks like. Li Zichen is also among them. Could it be a strong man hidden in Hiwu City? Li Zikan guessed in his heart. On Hiwu Island, there are rumors that there are many strong men above the third level hidden in Hiwu City. Everyone, hold on, reinforcements are coming from Hiwu City. Li Zikan shouted while fighting. Have reinforcements arrived from Black Mist City? Hearing Li Zikan's shout, the people in the important town of Blackwater were all excited. It was like a thirsty traveler who saw an oasis in the desert. But Chen Ronghuo looked strange when he heard it. But he didn't explain anything. It won't be too late to talk about it after these flame demon bulls are dealt with. Boom. At this time, Zhu Daipen and Li Haishui accelerated and appeared beside a third-level peak flame demon bull that was fighting with Li Zikan. The two of them, one on the left and one on the right, simultaneously performed the heavenly demon disintegration technique and punched out. The violent blood condensed into a fist, breaking the air and forming a vacuum. It was caught off guard and directly hit the flame demon bull. The two of them went up together, and with the cooperation of Li Zikan, they beat the flame demon bull into blood and flesh on the spot. Kill. A large amount of the original magic gift of the black magic star flowed into the bodies of the two people, was refined by the experience crystal, and transformed into the cultivation of the two people. Immediately, the two people did not stop and set their sights on another third-level peak flame demon bull again. When Zhu Daipen and Li Haishui showed madness on their faces, Chen Ronghuo also set his sights on the more than 20-meter-tall, fourth-level flame demon bull. Wang Chao, go together and kill this bull quickly. Chen Ronghuo gave an order and immediately took out the disaster bead, and whispered, weakness, disability, and death, 5 disasters are connected, the disasters are of the same root, and the disasters will take your life. The surging curse power immediately acted on the flame demon bull along the trajectory in the dark. It made it weak in the blink of an eye, and inexplicable injuries appeared on its body, and there was a dead air lingering around. Whoosh! At the same time, Wang Chao, who received Chen Ronghuo's order, also shot an arrow, aiming directly at the vital point of the flame demon bull. The violent arrow was like a meteor. Moo! The crisis came, and the flame demon bull let out a shocking roar. But with Li Zikan entangled on the side, coupled with Chen Ronghuo's powerful curse, it had no ability to avoid Wang Chao's shocking arrow, and could only slightly turn its head. Puff! The meteor-like arrow turned slightly after approaching the flame demon bull, and actually changed direction with the flame demon bull, and then with a puff, it nailed into the flame demon bull's eyes. Moo! The flame demon bull let out a long roar again. But under the influence of Wang Chao's shocking arrow and Chen Ronghuo's powerful curse, its long roar was only halfway through, and it stopped abruptly, fell to the ground, and exploded a pile of treasures. Dead. Li Zikan showed an incredible look on his face. Unexpectedly, as soon as Chen Ronghuo and his men appeared, this powerful fourth-order flame demon bull died in the hands of Chen Ronghuo and his men. Boom! At this moment, Zhu Daipen and Li Haishui joined forces and killed another third-order peak flame demon bull. After killing this flame demon bull, the aura of the two suddenly rose, and they reached the third-order peak from the third-order late stage. The 3 most powerful flame demon bulls died, and the remaining flame demon bulls were frightened and quickly fled far away. These flame demon bulls also have a certain amount of wisdom. So, a major crisis that could destroy the Blackwater town was instantly resolved. Thank you for your help, are you from Black Mist City? In the Blackwater town, Li Zikan saw the scene and hurried forward to thank him. Yes, Chen Ronghuo nodded, my name is Chen Ronghuo, and I am the Lord of Greenwater Baytown. But I killed Wan Yongchang not long ago, so it's not wrong to say that Black Mist City is mine.